Joining me right now is the newest edition of Road FC, Ramona Pascual. How you doing today?
Doing well, thank you. How are you?
Fine. Now I wanted to talk about your transition from training in Hong Kong and now basically doing all your training in South Korea. How has that been?
It's been definitely a tough transition, just the whole reason I came here was because MMA has been around in Korea for so much longer, and so I knew that coming over here would would ensure that my skills develop a lot quicker than if I had stayed in Hong Kong. So the training style is really different. The countries are really different. So it's been a struggle, but it's been good. It's been really good for me, and I think you're gonna see a big difference in my previous fights to this one coming up on Saturday.
All right, let's talk about the show that you were on, Fearless Guys.
Sure.
Um, Now I know one of the biggest barriers, not I guess not barriers, but I guess it was a barrier, a language barrier. Like being
hmm
on that show. How difficult was that for you?
It was super difficult. I mean, 98% of the time, I had no idea what was going on. Like truly, I was reluctant to do the show. I didn't actually want to do it. I didn't have a good time doing it. But it was just one of those things that I just wanted to challenge myself.
Mhm.
I'd never been in front of the camera for that long, and let alone in front of 12 cameras for such a duration of time. And yeah, it was just a whole bunch of challenges and surprises and things like that that I absolutely hate. But it was just something that that enabled me to stay in Korea and train for longer because Road is supporting me throughout that period.
Mhm.
And so I thought, I really want to stay, but I don't want to be dipping into my own account. So they just said do this, and then we'll continue to sponsor you here in Korea. And so that it was kind of a no-brainer.
Well, I guess if there's surprises, like the other contestants, it's a surprise to them. Then, but to you, it could be a even bigger surprise, right? So it was kind of a shock, wasn't it? A lot of the times.
Yeah, like anytime, the only things that were translated to me were instructions for challenges. So everything else just went over my head. Like I just had no idea. So I feel like I missed out on a lot of just the content of the whole show. I'm
Mhm.
sure local people would be watching it and know more of what's going on than I would have in the show. So yeah, it would just have to be like me looking at like, the other challengers' reactions just to guess like, is it a positive thing that they just said? Is it negative? Like what's going on? So definitely a huge mental challenge for sure. Um, Super uncomfortable. Glad I did it, but I'm definitely never doing that again.
Now, in one of the most emotional moments of the show was when you had to spar against one of the male contestants, right? And
Yeah.
did you rewatch that?
I watched the clip.
The clip,
I
right?
watched. I didn't watch that episode, but I watched
Mhm.
the clip of like the end of that.
Yeah, when you rewatch that clip, how do you feel now after it's all over with?
You know, the whole they had told they kept the girls on. They didn't actually plan to, and so they just kept on telling us like, oh, you're gonna have to fight a guy soon. You're gonna have to fight a guy soon. And it was kind of like, okay, you're the we're staying on the show, so yeah, okay, we get it. And then it was definitely the show was a huge burden on me. I can't lie. And so the fact that they were like, oh, okay, you're gonna fight this guy meant that I got that was like my ticket off the show, you
Mhm.
know?
Uh,
Um, and so I was like, okay, let's do it. Like, I mean, the risk there was like me sustaining an injury and then not being able to compete for a while, which would just, it basically diminishes the reason I'm there to begin with.
mm,
But other than that, it was kind of like, okay, there's this guy like 2 weight classes above me, not just in size, but actually knows how to fight. And I don't really know what was going on through my head at the time. I was kind of just like, okay, it was just part of the show, So I was kind of like, okay, those are the rules, so I'm gonna play by the rules. It's whatever. I definitely couldn't see myself being like, oh no, I'm not gonna fight. I'm just gonna leave the show, like not fighting,
Mhm.
when those were the clear rules, right? So I just went for it.
Well, I think you won a lot of fans over, by taking on that challenge. And it's great for you because you are fighting on the next show.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think of it even like that. Like that wasn't even in my thought process at all.
Mhm.
But part of this whole journey and process of being in Korea since I got here, like, August, has been just to put myself in uncomfortable situations.
Mhm.
This year's been like, the focus has been more on personal growth. And with all these things that have been happening, I kind of just was like, all right, let's do it. Like, go for it, go for it, go for it. Stuff that I would never, if you had told me what I would be doing
Mhm.
before I even got here, I probably wouldn't have come.
Mhm.
But as things went on, I was like, oh, I've already done that. Like, might as well just keep going.
Yeah.
And so that was the biggest driver for me at the time. It was kind of like, I would never freaking do this. And I was like, all right, let's do it. Um, it's crazy and it's stupid, but all right, let's do it. No one's gonna expect it. It's gonna be like weird, uncomfortable, whatever. And I was at a point where I was kind of like, all right, whatever challenge, let's just do it. Just do it. Don't think about it. Just do it. Like, just jump.
Yeah. Like you said, been a year of challenges. Now your next challenge is cutting down from fighting at featherweight to bantamweight. How has that process
Mhm.
been?
Bantamweight is definitely my division. uh, I'm competitive at my size at that division. And like cutting the feather earlier this year was kind of like it was almost like a half cut. And it also didn't put my mind into that like fighting mode because I didn't have to cut that much. I don't know. It's kind of hard to describe, but
Mm.
whenever I do have to cut down a lot, and so last year I fought twice at 63. Um, it's more of that kind of discipline that's required throughout camp, and like more of that sacrifice that puts me in that mind frame of I'm about to battle somebody.
Mm.
And it's kind of that whole package that I needed. And then fighting at feather was kind of like, oh, diet a little bit, like not take it too seriously. And so I thought that made me a little bit complacent maybe throughout that
Mm.
process. But the weight situation is really good. Bantam is where I should be for my body type and my size. And I believe I'm going to be really competitive at that division.
Maybe it brings the anger out in you
I
because you
think
have to.
so. I think I think when you experience true hunger, like you get mentally hungry. And so once you fuel up, that contrast between what it feels like to literally be knocking on death's door, cutting weight, and then refueling and replenishing, and then feeling like $1,000,000, like that contrast in feeling, and that kind of, that half of the fight is huge. And it's huge to set you up for the success during the fight.
Yeah, you had the mixed Thanksgiving, but you're going to be able to enjoy Christmas. So how does that feel?
It feels incredible. This is going to be the most well-earned Christmas of my entire life. Just kind of like a finale of like, the year. It's like end of the year, Christmas time. I'm going to be with my family. Um, it's kind of the end of this whole Korea chapter for
Mm.
the year. And so it's like not just the fight or the fight camp. It's been like prior to that, the show, the training, the coming here, the new culture, the getting used to this city, this country, being in an environment where I don't know anybody. I came alone. I don't speak the language, needing to rely on a lot of people, and ultimately proving to myself that I'm capable of so much more than I thought. And that's huge. So, um, yeah, this Christmas is going to be incredible. And that's the thing. I started off the year with probably, I would say the same, if you look at like financially and,
Mhm.
in terms of materialistic things, I'm ending the year more or less the same as I started, maybe even less because I don't have job security anymore. I used to be
Mhm.
a personal trainer. But I can tell you, like, come the 23rd, I'm going to be infinitely more grateful and happy with what I already have, you know? It's just like little things now. I'm just like I'm so excited to see my family.
Mhm.
So excited for Christmas. It happens every year. This we do the same thing, but like I can't wait to do it, you know? So, it's great. I can't wait.
Speaking of December 23rd, Road FC 45, you're going to face Seo-Woo Jin. She was also on the
Mhm.
show with you. Were you kind of
Mhm.
scoping her out, during the show? Maybe thinking like, I
For
might have to fight this girl.
for sure. They had, she is technically a weight division below me, I think.
Hmm.
But when I went on the show, someone had just in passing mentioned like, oh, if um, can you imagine if you and her had to fight? And I was kind of like, oh, I don't know about that because she's so young. And then I saw her train, and I was like, whoa, okay, like she's the real deal, And I feel like her experience and her record don't actually reflect what she's capable of. She is really young, but she also has been surrounded by Korean MMA, you know, like for many many years, and I've only been introduced to it in August. So her style of MMA is pretty well rounded. The fact that she didn't pick up any bad habits, and she kind of um, learned MMA in kind of a wholesome way.
Hmm.
So I feel like obviously I have the size and the strength advantage. She's really strong for her size. Technique wise, I think we're both skilled in different areas. So I actually think it's a great matchup. And I think it's going to be a really good scrap.
Yeah, I also believe the same thing. It's going to be a barn burner.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's going to be we're both going to go at it, like she is tough. She is super tough. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
Also, what are your thoughts on being part of a all women's league now?
Oh, it's incredible. I didn't watch the first Double X,
Hmm.
but I did hear about it, and I thought that was just really cool. And the setup of having, the whole undercard like all male, and then the main card all female, and also the females that are fighting on this card, like, oh my god, like, the headliners, like I've been following them for so long, and I've seen them fight, and so it's just very, very cool to be a part, to be opening for big talent like that. I think it's great for women's MMA. Obviously, I think having such a stacked female card um, is just going to show people, how well we can perform, and get more people to kind of realize that females are advancing in the sport. So it's incredible. I'm really happy.
Yeah, with the main event, with the atomweight title on the line and the fighters that are facing each other, it's getting a lot of attention from the world. So for you, it's a huge opportunity to kind of get your name out there with this fight. Do you believe that?
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
All right, last question before you go. During your time when you go home, you're spending Christmas with your family, what do you need to have as your main dish?
Oh, I have to pick one. This is really hard.
No, you pick many, it
Um,
doesn't matter.
oh man, like, well, when I get to because I'm flying straight to the Philippines. That's where my extended family is.
Hmm.
Man, like it's kind of like there's so much I can't even. Like every night, it's kind of some kind of we have huge family, so it's always some kind of like buffet banquet type style. What am I looking forward to? Oh my god, I can't even, like, everything. I think more like roasted meat, like good quality roasted meat, like a roast beef or like leg of lamb or something like that. Just because when you're cutting weight, like you can't have, such fatty foods
Hmm.
either.
Hmm.
Um, so it kind of weighs you down, and then you can't have it before the fight because protein, it takes a long time to digest, blah blah blah. So looking forward to that. It's a
All
proper
right.
feast. I'm gonna be a fat girl again end of the year.
You gotta be, you gotta reward yourself.
Oh, donuts. Donuts is definitely happening while I'm here.
Yeah, they got some donuts out here, right? All right, December 23rd, Road FC 45. You can catch Ramona
Right.
in her debut. Thank you for your time, Ramona.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it.